Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Happy Thursday. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're looking forward to it. There's one more day and we get into the first weekend of the month, and happy November to all of you. October is over. We're into the month of Thanksgiving in the US and India. We're looking closer to Diwali or Deepavali as we say down south. And I'm sure most of you are looking at spending, buying clothes, buying sweets, buying firecrackers. So in that endeavor, I thought I'll talk about what is the difference between why the rich stay rich and why the poor stay poor. It's got a little more nuance than just the rich have money and the poor don't have money. I know that's a simplistic explanation. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about why I have this podcast running. This podcast which I have running, it's not meant to discuss shares. It's not meant to discuss stocks. It's not meant to discuss other than what mindset investors should have, especially value investors. That's the premise of this podcast, why I started this podcast. And originally it was just me talking into a microphone with my notes and really not doing anything more than that, just to give some information out there for people who have been asking. There's a small segment of the audience or the population which wanted a little more information, who are probably beginners, who are looking for how to get into this, what kind of a mindset you should have. These are the beginners. And there's a huge segment of the audience who are the guys who have been here for a very long time, who have been watching Anand's programs for a long time, who are already well-established investors, who are keen on getting information about market news and what's happening in the US. We focus on all that. I agree. That's the premise of this channel itself. And that's what Anand does. And whenever Anand is here or Shashwati is, that's what we talk about. And that happens at the second half of the program, which is in the evening. The first half of the program is for us beginners like me and Kesab. So I do understand a lot of you do comment saying that, hey, what are you sitting and talking about? Some gyan. You're wasting time. I get it. It's not meant for you though. So if you are looking for that, tune in the evening. Anand will be there, Shashwat will be there, I'll be there when they're not there, and we'll talk in depth about investing in a specific share, a company, a stock, or a market trend, or macroeconomics. All that is covered there. This morning is just a bit of motivational stuff for our young investors who are just starting. So I'm not trying to score big in terms of viewership or trying to get into a wider audience here. I do understand this pool size is very small and I'm not worried about that. So a lot of you do send me feedback on Instagram and on LinkedIn saying, sir, but in the morning, why didn't you talk like this? Then more people will be tuning in. I get it, but that's not what I'm doing it. And I don't want to break away from why I started doing the podcast and make it another session of just what's happening in the evening again in the morning, which is talking about another share, another company. We're doing that. We're doing that in Money Pechu. We're doing that in Be Rich Evening, and we're doing it in Paisa Bolta Hai, where Anand talks about different stocks and different companies. And I get that. I wanted to give you guys something purely on what is an investor mindset all about, how investors go about achieving what they want. And I want to highlight the fact it's not about buying the share. Yes, it is about buying the share in the sense that you have to finally buy the share to grow rich. Agreed. My friends will come down there and say, sir, what are you saying? Without buying, how can you become rich? Absolutely. Without lifting weights, you cannot gain the strength, right? But it is also about mindset. It's also about preparing. It's also about understanding what you're getting yourself into. A lot of us sign up into a gym membership without even knowing what the gym is all about, what kind of a commitment it is, and what a mental and physical drain it is to go to the gym, to drive up to the gym, to park, get down, go inside, work out for a few hours, get back, and how it carves out. Suddenly a 24-hour day doesn't seem like very long once you start doing this. The same is true with investing and value investing, believe it or not. So that being said, what am I going to talk about? Like I said, about Diwali shopping and everything coming, and I want to talk about what keeps the rich rich and the poor poor. Wealthy individuals harbor a kind of a mindset where they only involve themselves in spending once they've done investing. They first invest, then they worry about spending. While people like me, Kesav, who tend to struggle with investing, we tend to spend first before we invest. And that is the first flaw. This, if you draw an analogy, what like Hafiz keeps telling me, my doctor and my guy who helps me get into shape, he says, first worry about your diet before you go to the gym. He says, going to gym is the easy part. Doing the exercise, believe it or not, is the easy part. The tough part is the diet. He says, if you don't get your diet tuned and into place, there's no point going to the gym on, working out or doing any of that. Yes, health-wise, yes, you improve. But if you're looking to lose weight, if you're trying to get into a certain body type or a certain shape, if you don't get the diet into place, you can't do the other. There's no point because 80% of the weightage is on the diet. Same way, if you don't invest first before you decide to spend, if you don't keep investment as a priority and you keep spending as a priority, then that itself, you're going to set yourself up to lose. That is the idea behind what I'm trying to say. So, as a person who's very wealthy, even when they are very wealthy, the first thing they'll do, something like even in Diwali season, is they'll invest. That's what all the trading about on Diwali day is about, where you invest some money, you buy gold coins. All that is a wealthy mindset. And when I say wealthy, it doesn't mean someone who has a lot of money. It is a mindset, meaning even someone who just 100 rupees can have this mindset and be wealthy. So it's not about the volume of money. It's about your attitude towards money, which is what is important. So even this Diwali season, when you're thinking about going and buying clothes, buying new firecrackers, buying sweets, getting into that festive spirit, part of that festive spirit, the first thing it should be is investing. And I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about that long and hard on what you want to put your money into first, so that grows for you. And investing and saving is a habit, and it has something to be formed over a period of time, like how I was talking about diet. That's why I want you to take this Diwali as something to put finance or financial thinking as a priority for your family, and keep that as a challenge. That part of the festivity of celebrating Diwali is going to be first investing and talking about investment, talking about money with your children, with your family members, and spend some time on this. See what spending patterns you guys have. By analyzing your spending patterns, it'll give you greater insight into why you're not able to invest, what is preventing you from investing. And wealthy people, they don't just initially go off and spend on frivolous, luxury items. Believe it or not, they first invest, and from that investment, when they see the money coming, then luxury items, what we consider luxury and frivolous, they start buying. For example, if you have 1,000 rupees in your hand, out of the 1,000 rupees, 5 rupees, 10 rupees will be nothing for you. Or if you have 10,000 rupees, 100 rupees will be nothing for you. You won't think twice about spending that 100 rupees. But if you see it from a perspective of someone who doesn't have that 100 rupees, someone's on the street side, they see you spending that 100 rupees, they'll think you're pretty frivolous and you're very wealthy. So do you get it? It's a perception, it's a mindset which differentiates. So if you have invested and you've grown your wealth and you have the capacity to spend without thinking, sure, then you can start looking at frivolous items, luxury items, as we say from our perspective. But to that point of time, you should put investing as a priority. And this happens in every festive season. I see it all over the news. I see it in advertisements. Diwali sale, Pongal sale, New Year's sale. And it's mainly targeting people who cannot afford it. People who cannot afford it are people like me, Kesav, and you. Right now, we don't need to buy another TV. We don't need to buy another washing machine. We don't need to buy another AC, if you really think about it. Most of us buy it because we just see the advertisement, we see it's a new model, something nice, and we decide to take an EMI on it. And that is something which I want you to think long and hard before you do it. Another thing which I wanted to remember is, just because you have a large income doesn't mean you have financial success. I know a lot of people who have had a lot of income and have had no financial success. And for great examples, all we have to do is look at great athletes in any sports. Even our Boris Becker finally became bankrupt. Just because you make a lot of money doesn't make you financially sound and wealthy. There are people who make a lot of money and they spend that money frivolously without thinking twice, and it's gone through them before they even know it. And there's so many in history which I can quote as examples, which I don't want to get into because that will take another 5 minutes, which I don't want to take of your time. I'm sure all of you know this. You can think of many people, and Anand has spoken many times about actors. Actors are plenty. Tamil actors, famous ones in the history he's spoken. And then he's spoken about ones who are very smart, like Jamni Ganeshan. So you can think of these examples. So the reason why there's a difference between them and this is because you first have to learn to invest. So anytime you decide to spend, first put an investment into that place, then think of spending. Same way like how Anand says, don't invest till you close all your loans. Same way I want to flip it on that and say, don't spend till you invest. So that should be your motto. So it can be simple as starting a simple habit with your children. Before we go and have dinner out and spend 2,000 rupees, I'll buy one ITC share. Or before we go on a holiday to Europe and spend 4-5 lakhs, I'll invest 40,000, 50,000, or I'll buy a bond. It's as simple as that. These small incremental steps you take is how wealth creation happens. And that's how your income turns into wealth. Otherwise, trust me and believe me when I say this, when you reach like my age and you look back and say, where did it all go wrong? what mistakes did I make? And suddenly, if you start adding up all your spends, which you did over the last month, the last year, and you see a huge volume of money which you spent very frivolously without thinking twice, which has landed you where you are. This is the kind of food for thought I want to offer you on this Thursday as we get close to the Diwali and we get especially to the weekend where all of you are going to go shopping and drop a bomb, picking up clothes, picking up whatnot. I even have people working for me who are going to go pledge their gold so they can buy new clothes for their children. And I found that quite shocking. You don't have an income, but you're ready to go pledge the little gold you managed to save and take a loan against that so you can buy new clothes for your children. And I don't know if that is the right lesson you should be teaching your children. I really don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on the comments below on what I'm saying. What should I tell this person who's working for me as advice when they want to go pledge their gold to buy clothes for Diwali for their children? I understand if it's a necessity. They don't have clothes. I understand that. But just as a celebration for Diwali, to buy firecrackers, I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. If I'm wrong, please tell me down below why I'm wrong. I would love to understand this. Anyway, thanks for watching the podcast today. I hope you found it motivational, informational, and entertaining. And I'll see you in the next one soon. Thanks. Bye.